So here I have logged into repl.it, and repl is a online IDE. So that's an integrated development environment. Basically, it means it's a place where we can write code online, and that's similar to Trinket. It's just that repl has a little more features and just a little bit nicer to use. The reason we're going to use it is because of the fact it's easier to use. It's much nicer than coding in Coursemology. So for those of you in grade 11 computer science, we want a nicer place to be able to write our code, and repl certainly provides that. So I've just logged in using my Google account. So when you access repl the first time, you can create a new account, just sync it to your school Google account to be able to log in to repl. And then all I've done really is click new repl. It asked me for a name and asked me which programming language I wanted to use. So I chose Python, and that's about it. So I have a program here, but the first thing before we talk about this program is to talk about some of the quick, easy things that you can do in REPL to help you. So we can change the size. So like a lot of times I'll work maybe more like this because I'm not printing out huge stretches of things. So this is our output window. So this is where if I print something or if there's an error message, it goes here. So this is sometimes we call it standard out, but we can think of it as an output window. And so this is our code window here. You can see here's the name of my file. And really, we're only going to be typically using one file at a time. We'll do a little bit perhaps with input files from like txt files and things like that. For the most part, we have one file, and we don't have to look at too much else. And if we open this window, you could this is where we'd see more files. But typically, we don't even need to keep that open because you won't be using them. So we've got a couple things with version control and packages and debugging that you can ignore for now. The debugger is the only one we'll ever really use. But the settings is where I want to start, and typically we keep things as a nice side-by-side layout. Usually when we write code, we never really write long lines. They end up being a little bit short, so it works better to have an output window but side by side versus the stacked option where your code goes above your output window. A theme, there's only two options in REPL, but it's up to you which one you want to use. It makes no real difference. I almost, even just for coding myself, I'll use a large font size. You can see that the normal size that's about an 11-point font, and that's fine. But I find typically the code we write, I don't want to see too much. I don't need to see 100 lines of code at a time. So often we want to try to keep our functions small and snippets of code fairly small. So I don't really feel the need to look at 100 lines all at once. It's sometimes more helpful to keep it a little bit larger. And if I was working with somebody else or working on the projector, I would switch it to the largest size, the huge size, in order to make it easier to see for someone else. I have this set up for indent tabs versus spaces. That's not a big deal. Either way, pressing tab will help you do your indents. The indent size is something we need to be aware of. And the reason so here, I'm just clicking here to expand because we can collapse our functions and things like that in REPL. But the indent size matters. So I like a 4 indent. So that's 4 characters, 4 kind of spaces here that it does. And Python doesn't actually care the size. And there's two general tab amounts. So some use a 4-character indent, some use a 2-character indent. And that's just kind of like standard. There's no, it doesn't have to be. Python will work just fine in either way. It just figures it out. It just has to be in your program all the same. It needs to be consistent. So if you take code from somewhere else that used a 2-character indent and move it over to someplace that used a 4-character indent, then you can get errors because Python gets confused as to how things are being indented and understanding what chunk of code is inside which function or inside which class. So like I said, I keep it with a 4. I think it's easier to see the indent, but that's kind of a personal preference. Um, this wrapping just basically means how it wraps around. So basically you can see here, that's one line, but Python is REPL is making it wrap around because it can't fit on the screen. Code intelligence enabled, you'll see that in a second, but basically that helps you by offering suggestions. So if you start typing in a variable name, it'll try to auto-complete it based on the fact that it knows what variables you've already created. And that's the basics of using REPL. And like I said, the reason we're using it is because it's a little bit nicer to use it here. It gives a little bit better error messages when we make mistakes, and we know we're going to make tons of those. So it gives you a little bit, better error messages to figure out where your error is, to solve it, and then feel pretty good about having some code you can bring into Coursemology to test to make sure it works. So just a quick overview then, just so you get a sense of it working. I've created this class puppy here. And I've gave it some functions. So I gave it this init function that we sometimes call a constructor, and sometimes we call it like a dunder init because this is a double underscore. So that's the function, remember, that initializes when we create an instance of this class. So basically, it's the function that gets called here when I create this puppy, an instance of a puppy here, and it gets called again when I create this other puppy instance. For this one, I applied a variable name called puppy1, and for this other one, I called it puppy2. And like I said, when those instances are created, these functions get made. So we take in a name and a breed and an age for each puppy, and we save those in these three things. So these are the self dot variables, these attributes of our object, are instances of our puppy, where they save them all in because we're going to keep them long term as long as we have the object. And then I gave some default attributes, so I made like whether the dog is clean and dry, basically. And these are Booleans, so they're either true or false. And then I just, for fun, made some functions that can, so I say like the dog speaks and it just prints to the screen bark. And then these other ones are basically just, you can tell a dog to swim, and then we said, okay, it's now clean, but it's not dry. If you play outside, it's now not clean, so we call it a false. We assign it a false value. And same thing. We make it clean and we make it dry. So right now, when I run this program, the only thing that really happens, so I'll just close this for a second, is that we make our two puppies and I've printed them. So this at first is kind of a weird way of seeing print statements. And typically I don't start with this, but it's the better way of learning how to print things to the screen. So some of the older resources I have use a regular print thing where I'm saying things like print puppy1 dot name plus a space, and it gets maybe easier to read, but it's long term, it's not the best way to go. So this uses the format function built into Python, so it's kind of the preferred way of printing. So basically, I created a string of what I want to print. All right, you can see it's wrapped in the double quotes on each side. So I made this string, and basically I put the words I want to say, like I want to say the word name, colon, and then I put these curly braces, and every time I see a curly brace, that's where I'm going to put in a variable or some sort of dynamic value. So here, I've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things they're taking in or expecting to get. And so that's the string. And then I say dot format. So I apply a function against that string. And the format then takes in those 5 things that I want to put into that string. So I get puppy1's name and puppy1's breed and its age and it's whether or not it's clean and its variable controlling whether or not, or saving whether or not it's dry. So you can see this part of the string for both is the same, right? It's expecting the same string. The difference is the variables here. So here I'm giving all puppy1 variables. Here I'm giving the variables for puppy2. I can print a blank line just so I can separate what's going on. And then, our dog starts by default. Our puppies start as dry and clean. So let's just test out to make sure that works if I change it. So I'm just going to apply it. So when I change or I tell it to do something like, you can see this is the code intelligence happening. But when I say puppy, it's going to automatically tell you. So I'm using just the arrow keys up and down. I'm going to say, okay, let's do it to puppy1. So I make sure it's highlighted, press tab, and it finishes it. And I'll say puppy1 dot play outside. Again, the code intelligence comes through. You can see that play outside only accepts self. That's the variable it expects, and that's a default one. So you never actually have to give it in the brackets. So telling puppy1 to play outside, we can run it. And now when I run it, it doesn't look like anything happened other than print that extra blank line. And that's because puppy1 is a function that changes the puppy's state. It changes something with the variables, but doesn't print anything. It doesn't output anything. So for us to see if it worked, one way would be for us to, well, let's take, so should be say puppy2. We'll take puppy1's, that same print statement, and I'm going to just copy and paste it after to see if it changed. So now when I run it, I see my puppy1 line here, and then my puppy2 line, and then back to my puppy1 line, except now I told my puppy to play outside, so now he's no longer clean. And we can keep testing that way by saying puppy1 dot let's do groom. And the same thing, I would have to do that same print statement again. Now this time when I run it, you can see here's the original line. Here is where he was printed after we told the puppy to play outside. And then this is the line when after we've told him to be groomed here. And you can see now we've assigned that variable to be a true value. So in order for us to make, once we make a class, you actually have to make instances. So while I could be making this puppy, and this could be maybe it's an assignment where I've told you a bunch of things to make as part of the class and the things that your class has to do, well, you can't test it without doing something like this and actually making a main program that not only creates an instance, but then also applies things like runs the functions. Because remember, these functions, they could have errors in them. I will never know unless I start making my own tests by running the functions against an instance. So I make a puppy object, then I tell it to do something, then I can print out the results, or maybe this thing is something that prints itself. So for example, something like, I could say puppy2 dot bark, or I call it speak. So I could say puppy2 dot speak, and you'll notice I didn't say the print command here. I just said puppy2 dot speak, and that's because the speak has the print statement inside of it. And so when we want to print something here to the output, we're typically always running this print command and inside these brackets, giving the things we want to print. And like I said, here's maybe the normal way we see it, where we just print a word. And when we're using variables to print, we are going to use this dot format method. Now, for lots of the things you do in Coursemology, I just ask you to complete a class. I don't ask you to do any of this stuff. And so this is why we're using REPL, because it's much easier for you to do the tests out here in REPL to make sure your class is good. Then this is what we would copy and paste into Coursemology. Because the way my tests work is they don't really work well if they're just testing what you print. We can make tests where it figures out what you printed, but it's too easy to just fake it. And I don't mean that you're cheating, I just mean you just figure out something that works by printing, but it doesn't actually do what it's supposed to do. So my tests don't check to see what you printed. They run by creating your object and then checking to see what your functions do. So basically in code that you don't see because it happens in the background, my tests in Coursemology would create a puppy, then run bits of code to test that each function does what it's supposed to do. So you'll see in Coursemology, I'll ask you to complete classes, but you won't see any main programs where an item or an object is getting an instance created of it. It just looks like just the class, just the blueprint. But in order for you to test, we still have to make them in REPL, do some tests on our own until you feel good about it, and then run it. And if there's small tweaks, you can do that in Coursemology as well. You can still code in Coursemology. It's just that for starting from scratch, often it's a little bit easier to go into REPL. So you'll notice on your first couple of challenges, you may not even feel like you need to go to REPL, but REPL does give us a little bit of a better interface to start coding. And that's all.